This is another one that gets asked fairly frequently. The biblical account of creation seems to indicate that the earth was created in 6 literal days. Do you believe that? Do you think the account is true? Or was the earth created over a longer period of time, maybe through theistic evolution or some other view? How would you
I'm
answer
sorry, could you repeat the question?
that? We're all in this together, or at least you and I are. Joe's just out here laughing. Creation, do you believe it's in 6 literal days? If so, why?
Wow, that is really hot. My tongue is on fire right now. Yeah, I think...
I think my lips are what's the worst for me right now.
Yeah, I do. Hold on. I do. Oh, man, that's so hot. I do take what I think is a natural view to Genesis 1. I think it's literal. Does it matter? Is that what you asked?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I'd say yes if you take Scripture literally. I realize that, theologians and pastors differ. But I think a lot of our friends in the evangelical community take a different view on the bookends of the Bible. Oh my goodness, is that hot.
I love how every breath he's trying to just get a second.
It's getting hotter. That's the problem. It's getting hotter.
It does kind of, it hits hard at first and then it grows over time.
I'm crying right now. Oh, you remind me of the Rolling Stones song, Start Me Up, which says, you make a grown man cry. Oh my goodness. That is so hot.
You didn't finish your wing. Do you want to eat the rest of it?
I'm not sure I can go to 7. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. You're right, the water doesn't do anything. Oh my goodness.
You gotta drink the milk.
Oh my goodness. This is so wrong. This is so wrong. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everybody. Forgive me. Oh my goodness.
You're not doing anything that hasn't been done before.
Okay. So some of our friends don't take a literal view. They take a theistic evolutional view of one kind or another. And I do think there are some technical things to look at. One is, the word for day is the Hebrew word, oh my goodness. So
Yum.
that word yum, yum. And
yum, yum, yum,
yeah.
Tasty hot wings?
Yeah. And whenever you have a numerical adjective like day 1, day 2, oh my goodness. In the scripture, it's referring to a solar day as we understand it, so a 24-hour day. And I realize there's arguments otherwise. They look, and I know that, the day of, or so-and-so in his day, and that refers to long periods of time. But you have all kinds of problems with that view. So a couple of them would be biblically. I go to Exodus 20, where you have the 10 Commandments, and you have, remember, the Sabbath. And then his reasoning for taking a day off, a solar day off every 7 days you live, is because, just as God, when he made the earth in 6 days, rested on the 7th. So if you take any form of a day-age theory or theistic evolutional theory, that doesn't make any sense. God didn't take eons of time off, in between, what he was doing. So that doesn't make any sense. And the other thing I would say, if you took a pagan, somebody who has no preconceived position on the Bible, and you gave them Genesis 1, I would argue that 100% of the time they would conclude ex nihilo, out of nothing, God creates, and they would conclude that the days are 24-hour days. That would be my argument.
Seems like a fair argument to me.
I don't think it's salvation oriented. I don't think it has anything to do with your salvation or anything like that. I wouldn't argue that. I'm relatively dogmatic on it, but I can have fellowship with people who don't agree with me on that position.
What do you think are the dangers, if any, for someone who doesn't believe that it was a literal day?
Well, theoretically, the danger would be you're not taking the Bible. If you don't take the Bible literally there, what gives you the right to always take it literally elsewhere? Or to put it differently, if I have the license to allegorize Genesis 1, why not allegorize it repeatedly throughout the Scripture? So really, you're breaking laws of hermeneutics throughout the Scripture when you take it literally in Genesis 1 or in Revelation, which they do the same thing, allegorize that. But in between, look at everything grammatically and culturally and historically as literal. To me, it's just an inconsistent hermeneutic is what it is, and so that would be my concern. Is you really stand the chance of butchering Scripture throughout the Scripture, and then you get guilty of what Peter said when he talked about those who. He referred to the Apostle Paul's writing, which are some of are hard to understand. 2 Peter 3. In which those who are unlearned twist, and the word means to distort, to their own destruction. And then he adds the line, as they do the rest of the Scriptures. So in other words, if I distort the Bible, Andrew, in one place, then I'm forced to distort it every time I come across that doctrine, which is exactly what Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormons have done. And I don't want to make Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormons on the same level of evangelical who doesn't take a literal view of Genesis 1. I'm just saying, you asked where the dangers are, those would be some of the slippery slopes.
Well, I see Jared's here. Go ahead and bring in some of those lifelines here. Pastor's been hurting a little bit. I would be lying if I said I wasn't hurting a little bit too.
God bless you. What is this?
This is vanilla ice cream.
From AE?
Well, they only make ice cream mix now.
Oh.
So this is just from Hy-Vee.
It's vanilla bean, too.
While you do that, Owen Notaboom is wondering, what are your favorite movies?
Favorite movies?
Favorite movies? Yep. As a guy, I love Braveheart. It's one of my favorite movies. I like Unforgiven, Clint Eastwood. I love his line at the end when, he's he's looking at that corrupt sheriff on the floor of the saloon. The corrupt sheriff's already shot up, and he's saying, he goes, I don't deserve to die. And Clint Eastwood goes, deserving's got nothing to do with it, and then shoots him. Those are a couple of the movies I enjoy. Others might come to my mind. Those first ones come to my mind.
If you're wondering about mine, it would probably be Lord of the Rings trilogy is definitely way up there. I enjoy most of the movies that many people enjoy in terms of, I love Star Wars and Jurassic Park and Harry Potter and a lot of those types of things. But Lord of the Rings would probably be my top 1, 2, and 3.